Hey guys, welcome to Ballet Journal Challenge Week 2. So, this week is all about combinations and choreography. So, if you ask me, this is really the easiest week. So, this will probably be pretty short, but this is one of the first things that I give students when I am trying to encourage them to start the habit of ballet journaling. I always start with saying, write down the ballet terms and definitions. Hey, Jolenti, and write down combinations. The reason that is where I start, and the reason that I think that's the easiest, is because I'm directly telling you what to write. So it's not like you have to sit with an open journal and just come up with something on your own. You're going to take a combination from class, remember it, and write it down. When I did the polls yesterday in my stories, a majority of you started ballet later. So I'm very interested to explore this connection between starting ballet as a kid and starting ballet later, and how that affects picking up combinations. Because when you start ballet, it is like learning a whole new language, right? And so if you don't have that base to fall back on of knowing what the terms are, knowing what the meanings are, I wonder how much that influences remembering combinations. Hey guys, so let me know in the comments below if you have ever been there where the teacher gives the combination, everybody's in fifth, ready to go, and you're still like, wait a second, wait, what are we doing again? Because I've been there so many times, and I think it's a really common challenge. I know that when I started ballet, I was 14, we had a Cuban teacher who had a very heavy accent. He spoke very fast, and he would give the combination, and everybody was ready to go. Most of those classes, I just tried to follow the person in front of me as best as I could, and I left the classroom feeling like I had not accomplished anything, scratching my head, not able to remember a single thing. So journaling helped me so much with this. Once I started to directly after class sit down and try to write down as many combinations as I could remember, it helped me to start to get familiar with the terms and the patterns of the combination and how the class goes, because teachers do tend to follow a pattern, and ballet class always follows a pattern: plie, tendu, dégagé, right? So I've noticed as an adult that I struggle with this all over again, because I have a lot more responsibilities, a lot more things in my head. I have a lot less sleep. But I notice a huge difference when I am journaling and when I'm not journaling. So no matter what age you are, I think this is a fabulous place to start just immediately after class, because I have so many people who say they drive home and then they can't remember anything. So luckily right now most of us are at home, but if you are taking class in the studio, see if you can go and hang out in your car. I have been known to hang out in my car for as long as possible to journal out some combinations that you remember from class. Depending on your teacher, you might even be able to have your journal right there and journal in between bar and center if they're giving you a little bit of a break. I had Quarantina Ballerina send me a DM yesterday saying, I think teachers just need to go slower. And that is so valid. I know that when I started ballet, I was terrified to raise my hand and ask a question, ask them to do it again. And now I'm not. So it depends on the teacher. Obviously, some teachers are more open to that than others, but I know for myself as a teacher, I absolutely love it. I love it when a student raises their hand and asks me to repeat the combination, asks me to clarify the combination, asks me to go through it a little bit slower. I want your success as a teacher. I want you to know the combination. I want you to be comfortable. So let's just assume that all teachers want that, hopefully, and raise your hand and ask, because this is your journey. We will always come back to the fact that you have to take ownership of your ballet journey. You have to take ownership of your learning. So do it. Raise your hand. Ask them to repeat it. Ask them to do it again. Also, another thing that I love as a teacher, especially because I'm always encouraging journaling, is if you go and you journal out a combination and maybe you're unfamiliar on the counts, or if the right foot was front or the left foot was front, or what the arm was doing there, you can bring that journal back to me, show it to me, and ask me questions. I love that. I want to help you learn. So So just be willing to ask the questions, just be willing to be put on the spot. I wanted to show you guys today a few examples of my ballet journals. I have so many, and let me just forewarn you that I'm a little bit of a messy person. So, I write on whatever is nearby. It might be a napkin, it might be a Post-it note, it might be a journal, it might be diagonal, it might have some coffee stains on it. Please don't judge your own journaling. Hey guys, the journal's for you. It's not for anyone else. You don't have to show anyone else, right? So write it however you need to. When I first started journaling, I misspelled everything, but who cares? It was for me. I was spelling it phonetically. It worked. So here's some examples of how I write out choreography, right? So I just would, after I would learn a dance, I would go and sit down and just journal out the choreography. And we will talk about drawing next week, but as I'm writing out choreography, as I'm writing out what to do, I'm writing out notes as well, so that when I go back and I listen to the music at home and I'm reading what I wrote, I can remember that as I'm doing this tombe, I'm thinking about expanding through the chest. And it's like a 2-for-1. So when you journal back the choreography or the combination, it's like an additional visualization, which is a huge component of what we talk about in the Beyond Ballet community, a huge component of what I encourage people to do, because your brain is where everything's coming from, right? So the more that you can visualize yourself doing the combination correctly, doing the choreography the way that it's supposed to be done, the more that your brain will translate that into your body. I also wanted to show you how I've gotten a bit neater, just a little bit. I've started to type out my classes because I'm a teacher. It's still not super neat, but I write down the combination, dégagé, I write down the song so that I can reference it, and then I have my own shorthand that I use, right? So a lot of people, if they looked at my journal, they would probably be like, I don't know, what does that mean? Because I'll write like OS for other side, or FBS for front back side, or RVS for reverse. It's just kind of a shorthand, and you have to play with it and see what works for you. But remember, it's for you, so whatever works, works. And then I was also going to say that as you're learning choreography, it can be really helpful for patterning, to come up with your own shorthand of the patterns that happen in choreography, right? So I tend to write mine kind of like football, with the X's and the O's, and maybe circle, and then draw an arrow, and I write down the names of who's standing in each place, and whether they're group A or they're group B. And I find that to be so helpful, because when you're in the moment, whether you're in a class or you're learning a dance, there's so much to be thinking about. Hey guys, and so you're thinking about your core, and you're thinking about pointing your feet, and so then if you can take yourself outside of that class, outside of that rehearsal, and re-go through everything in your journal, it allows you to add all the finesse, to add all of the details. And I just think it's a really beautiful habit to get into. If nothing else, if you do nothing else, just sitting down with your journal after class and trying to remember one combination. Once you get that one combination, challenge yourself for 2 combinations, and then eventually challenge yourself to write out the whole bar and then the whole class. This makes a huge difference on a class-by-class basis, because you are training your brain that this is something that you want to pay attention to. This is something that's important to you. This is something that we want to remember. It's all about the consistency and the repetition, right? When I was taking class on a regular basis, it became second nature. Your brain wires those connections so they go really fast. I remember my mom would watch class and she would say, how is it that they just say it once and then everybody has it and everybody does combination, and then they say to reverse and everybody does it? You didn't even go over it. You just reversed it without even thinking about it. And it is really amazing if you think about it. The dancer's brain is truly incredible because of the way we work with it. So train the brain as well as the body, and it will get better. Let me know if you have any tips for remembering combinations. Let me know where you feel like you struggle with the most. I know Toher was saying that he thinks it's partially some of the class anxiety, and I totally get that. I've totally been there with class anxiety. You have the teacher looking at you, you have all of these other students who just seem to know what they're doing, and it kind of puts your body into that fight or flight or freeze. In my case, I would always just freeze, and I would hang out in the back of the class, and I would just kind of laugh because that was my defense mechanism. So take a breath. Know that this is your journey. Know that this is your place to be in that class. No matter what the teacher's persona is, no matter what the other student's persona is, you are there for you. Okay, so take your class, take your journal, write it down afterwards, and yeah. So next week we're going to be talking about drawing. It's one of my favorite weeks because it challenges you in a new way if you're not someone who typically doodles or paints or anything like that. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up in the link in my bio to get the email for week 3. I'll be back here next Tuesday at 1 o'clock to talk about that. And also, I wanted to talk to you guys about the Beyond Ballet community. Beyond Ballet community is all about this stuff. I feel like my own training and my own career as a dancer exploded when I started to work with my brain first. Because we get so stuck in ballet on the physicality. We get so stuck in the technique. We get so stuck in the presentation of our bodies that we're missing the genius that is our brains, right? So with the journaling, the visualization, the affirmations, and really looking at the limiting beliefs that we carry with us, and then the community to encourage you and uplift you as an adult dancer who is pursuing dance, pursuing artistry alongside all of your adult responsibilities and adult life. It's a beautiful thing. So DM me, let's talk about it if that sounds interesting to you, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.